Welcome to GlideChat, where we give you the rundown of all things ServiceNow. Let's talk about the now, right now.
Hello there, and welcome to another edition of GlideChat. My name is Ohad Kushner. I'm GlideFast Chief Customer and Delivery Officer, and I'm pleased to welcome Sam Callaway from ServiceNow to this edition. Hi, Sam.
Ohad, it's great to be with you.
So, Sam, you deal a very particular area of the business at ServiceNow. Please, if you may, just tell us a little bit about what your team does and what your particular role is at ServiceNow.
Yeah, happy to. I was going to say it's great to be back with you again. And I know you and I have a storied history working together back when you were here at ServiceNow. And it's awesome to see the success that you're driving at GlideFast as well. So great. Congrats on that. Team, I'm Sam Callaway. I lead our global Inspire Value team here at ServiceNow, which is dedicated and responsible and works closely with our customers across their journey of both scoping and viewing and really looking at ServiceNow as a strategic platform investment for their technology investments across the enterprise, and then also helping those same customers measure that success that they've created, the value that they've created across the enterprise with ServiceNow as well. And it's been a tremendous journey over the last 5 years, growing and building a team. And we have just a tremendous team of professionals that work and support our customers on a day in, day out basis as well.
Awesome. And I think the reason we're doing this particular GlideChat is because so many of ServiceNow's prospects, as well as existing clients, are uber focused on how to get stuff done in terms of the kind of the technical chops, what module to buy, what user stories to build. And we kind of lose sight of that frequency, which is value, which ultimately is what makes people write checks for a ServiceNow digital transformation powered by AI. And that's really going to be the subject of today's GlideChat with you, Sam. So I want to talk about value capture just as an intro. You obviously have the purview of talking to many prospects, many of ServiceNow's clients, and your team as well. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts of maybe starting off with a new prospect about to embark on a ServiceNow transformation journey. What have you seen that kind of works well? What doesn't? What should customers really pay attention to when they embark on a journey from a value perspective?
Yeah. Yeah, and Ohad, I think the way they go about it as a net new customer, they really establish a value North Star where they're able to say, we're focused on reducing SG&A spend inside this particular portion of the business. Let's say it's a 5% reduction in SG&A spend. And here's the mechanism that we expect to go about doing that with ServiceNow as a digital technology or transformation technology that we'll have in place. We know there's other buckets of SG&A spend that we would be influencing as a part of that. And why do we all love technology? Because it makes everybody's jobs easier. We're able to automate the mundane, really reduce the burden associated with IT service management, HR service delivery, customer service, customer care across the enterprise. So I'll go back and say establishing that North Star, first and foremost, as a net new customer, holding that up as here's the criteria for success, and really anchoring that with a set of metrics, a set of measures that gives you the ability to say, okay, here's quantitative, here's some of the qualitative benefits that we expect to achieve. And then laddering that up and including that as you go through that both evaluation process and then as you get to a contract signature and project kickoff as well. So I'll say North Star is crucial, critical. Why are we doing this? What's the expected impact and influence? And that makes it much easier for project owners, platform owners, and project leads to go back and message that to their individual constituents and stakeholders internally.
I agree. And I'll tell you, having been a client myself of ServiceNow before working there, we know that so many folks that deal with ServiceNow tend to be technical, and they lose sight of the business metrics, the KPIs. And oftentimes, this, customers may not even have the data to capture. So what do you do in that sort of a case, Sam, where customers, they have the data, but it's not structured or it's all over the place, and they need to embark on a project with on their own or with a partner, what's the best practice related to that?
Yeah, and it's a common occurrence, Ohad. We see it more often than not. There is a portion of that where there's some forensic work that's required in many of these cases, where the project team just has to go back and do that, a little bit of elbow grease, getting in, trying to forensically sort of assemble. We know it might be spread out across hundreds of systems. A great example of that was we worked closely with British Telecom. We consolidated 125 service management systems across BT writ large, across many of their business units, into one ServiceNow instance or one ServiceNow technology platform for service management. And that original work that was done, that required cobbling together 125 different sets of data and sort of building that story to say, okay, here's the breadth of the impact that we're going to have. So I hate to say it, Ohad, but there's just some elbow grease and work that's going to be required for the team to go in, and best practice, try to forensically sort of assemble the best story that you can at the starting point. That gives you a solid foundation to be able to say, hey, here was the historical, the pre-ServiceNow world. It gives you that historical antecedent, if you will, to say, okay, we know this is what we had historically, and then let's move forward with North Star and what we expect to influence and achieve an impact as well. If you can't do that, trying to assemble as much as you possibly can, and at least starting with a targeted, recommended, agreed upon foundation of here's what service management looks like in the current state. That's always a worthwhile exercise. So you can go back and historically compare there.
That's right. And I think, I mean, it's rare to find a client that doesn't have any North Star,
Yep.
because it's very hard to fund a digital transformation project of any technology,
100%.
now included, without having that. Customers often struggle with really getting into the operational data because it is all over the place. And one of their aspirations with ServiceNow is to get to a place where all the data is in one place and they have the metrics and the KPIs. But I like to say, and we say this from a partner perspective too, is that no, not having the data is also a complete answer as well. But then at least it tells you, and it tells your implementation team that you're going to have to compromise on something. You're going to have to get something in place that will guide the technical teams. And it's not the technical teams that are going to drive to outputs. It's really that value frequency that just hovers over the length of the project and tells us if we're within the guardrails or not.
Yeah.
And continues
that lack of data is also a story in and of itself, which is to say, hey, we simply lack volumes, we lack visibility into what's taking place today. And you'd be surprised that happens in somebody, even our largest customers as well. And so it's a story in and of itself to message, to say, this is a process that needs, digitization. This is a process that is, a critical contingency for us as a business. So I wouldn't take it necessarily as a black eye per se, but it is definitely one where that lack of data tells that story of it isn't a process that we've actually gotten our arms around yet. And it's something that really needs that ServiceNow business process and structure to really help us move into the modern era, let's say, of what digital technology should look like across the enterprise.
Great. And not having the data is in itself one of the goals of going down a ServiceNow journey, right?
Absolutely.
You may not have it today, but in a year, you'll be able to capture it a lot better and then start to make process improvements and the like. So
That's
we talked
exactly
about new prospects. Sam, anything that you would add or you would change in your answer related to customers that are already sold on the ServiceNow journey, but now are kind of in this incremental addition? They're on the ServiceNow bandwagon, but they're continuing the journey. How does value play a role within existing customers?
Yeah, that's great. It's a great question. We see the best, what they do on a quarterly basis is they have what they've done is a part of their initial implementation project. They establish that North Star. They establish the corresponding operational measures of success, KPIs that they're measuring from a success criteria. And then they're using that and incorporating that as a part of their quarterly investment reviews internally, and then also together in some cases with ServiceNow, depending upon their interaction with our customer success organization as well. And
Right.
so when you think about this concept of a value blueprint is probably the easiest way to qualify what the best put in place. That's a 1 or 2 slider that is connected directly to those performance metrics and measures that they have in their ServiceNow instance. They've got a a proactive and very responsive view to here's the success criteria that we've established. And then they're using that internally to message to their stakeholders up and down that sort of leadership chain, if you will. Not only here's that North Star that we originally established, here's some of the technical requirements that we're still satisfying, we're still implementing, we're continuously evolving with ServiceNow. And then also here's that continuous value that we're achieving, that continuous value management process and messaging that we're achieving. Here's how we're trending in relation to these KPIs. Here's that SG&A goal that we established, and here's how we performed against that as well. And so we see the best ServiceNow leaders as far as implementing and running a ServiceNow project internally at the customer. They use that continuous value management methodology to really anchor back to both that initial success criteria and those corresponding KPIs. And it makes it so much easier to have that conversation. Ohad, as you and I were talking earlier, you know the continuous evolution and innovation of the Now platform. As we move into this new agentic AI era, there's so much more that we're going to be doing across the enterprise writ large. And as the best have that continuous value management platform and story to share with their executive leadership, it makes it so much easier for them to start to really expand and use that messaging to justify additional investments and to really grow their footprint on ServiceNow.
That's a really, really great point. And they say that data is the new oil, right? The more data you have and the more operational processes and workflows you put into ServiceNow, and the more hooks you put in and the more payloads and workload that you put into the platform, actually what you start to get is a lot of value capture, because ServiceNow already has that inherently. And before that, you're actually staring at a wall, as we discussed before. But you start to reap these benefits in the long run, which are really, really important, including in the
absolutely. Yeah.
So there may be prospects here viewing this GlideChat or existing clients. They say, yeah, this is all kind of pie in the sky stuff. Everybody knows that we need to capture value, but it's really, 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 really hard. So I want to just ask you kind of the really important question. Have you seen clients that really, really kind of crack the code on this, do it really, really well? And what has gone well for them? Why can they do that well? What's the secret sauce here?
Absolutely. We see customers up and down the continuum as far as customer size and industry that are achieving just tremendous value across their ServiceNow investments and platform. And that's a big part of what we support and drive with our customers in that value realization capacity, really helping our customers identify the benefits that they're achieving and really complementing their internal value management exercises that are taking place. What I'll say is a best practice and continuation of what I mentioned before. You think about establishing that value blueprint. There is a continuous cycle, whether that's quarterly, of really driving a continuous value management across the enterprise. And we see that the best that achieve the most value off the platform are incorporating and integrating those expectations of benefit and achievement back into their project roadmap and working closely with their services partner, with ServiceNow customer success, and also their internal teams to really make sure that the technology that they're consuming as a part of that roadmap is closely aligned with that value management practice and that continuous value management measurement as well, and then vice versa, and that we're reflecting that on both sides of the house. And you're making sure that platform success story is integrated both ways. You've got that ability to say, here's what we're adopting today, or here's what we've adopted, here's the success that we've achieved. And then also here's what we'll continue to adopt, and making sure that there is economic justification for that continuous adoption. And that's where we see the best really differentiate themselves around that measurement criteria. And I think that concept of a bilateral or a kind of bidirectional back and forth between platform success, platform consumption, and customer success, and really adoption there, and an aggressive roadmap, and then reflecting that both in that value blueprint and that continuous value management concept. That's what the best do. And that's how you're going to really maximize those outcomes across the enterprise as well.
That's awesome. And I think that's, even from a post-sale side, and as speaking now as an implementation partner, and we stated this at the beginning, I think just focusing on it, speaking to it, making sure that all the technical tracks always touch on the frequency of why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And not just the how, not just the 3-letter acronyms and the 4-letter acronyms of functions and features and so forth, is just that alone makes projects succeed with a much, much higher probability rate. This was a great conversation, Sam. I really want to thank your team for what you're doing. Such an important aspect of project implementation. Any final words from you?
Yeah, I'll just share a final thought as you think about where we're headed. And for those that are really staying close to ServiceNow's innovation imperative and the aggressive roadmap that we're putting out into the marketplace, the future is extremely exciting with agentic AI. We've got the agents, we have the workflow and the data, all part of that ServiceNow platform. And that's going to, the topics that we touched on today, that concept of continuous value management, that's going to put that value management imperative on steroids, let's say. Really increase the focus and attention that's going to be placed on ingesting third-party data from other enterprise systems, incorporating that as a part of ServiceNow workflows, and then throwing agents at those workflows and really driving multi-step agentic processes across ERP, operational technology, sales, marketing, all the way, customer service and customer excellence as well. The future is extremely bright, very exciting, and it reemphasizes the point. Start your continuous value management journey as quickly as you can as you start to get into these very exciting areas as the platform expands as well. So, Ohad, really looking forward to taking that journey together as we go attack the imperative that many of our customers have.
I'm looking forward to it as well. And thank you so much, Sam. This was really great. This is not just an academic subject for many, but this is so practical. And just, I think, in our collective experiences is why so many projects succeed and why some others, just need to be fine-tuned along the way a little bit more.
Agreed.
So thank you again for viewing this edition of GlideChat. My name is Ohad Kushner from GlideFast. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.
Do you have a topic in mind that you'd like to discuss? Reach out to us at glidefast.com and subscribe to our podcast for new episodes. Thanks for listening.